Holman, I'm sorry, but I started another controversy online. I don't know if you saw that or not.
It's only a controversy if you care, Lightning.
I do care. I care a lot. Sometimes I care too much.
Yeah.
So I put up this video. When did the carpool lane become the slow lane? As you know, the left lane, the number one lane, has always been the fast.
Stupid and preachy. I'm like, seriously? You're really?
It was stupid and preachy, and it got some conversation going. So basically, I put up a video that said, when I was young, the carpool lane was the fast lane.
I watched the first about 8 seconds. I'm not indulging him in this.
Okay. Well, you don't indulge me in any of my videos, so that doesn't surprise me.
That's not true. I watched the Ballard video.
Well, you didn't have a choice because you didn't know it was coming. It was just like it hit you.
No, I knew it was coming.
Did you?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
I was there when it was filmed.
Oh, yeah. All right. Well, listen, I put this up, and I was just like, growing up, the carpool lane hauled ass. It just, because it was empty. And then as traffic comes along and you get people who squat in it, like my man Holman and Matt Gamble, they freaking squat in the carpool lane. It's it's 74. Listen, I'm going the speed limit, and I feel comfortable here.
This is the problem.
Yeah.
The speed limit in California is 65.
Yep. So
everybody goes 80, 75.
80 in the fast lane.
No.
I have video on my phone.
Will you let me finish, Lightning? Because you're wrong. About most of it. I mean, you've made some good points interspersed with your wrongness, but yes, there are the occasional people doing 90, cutting through. But cruise, you can't really cruise 80, maybe sometimes in SoCal. Most people are between 75 and 79, and then there's the 5% outliers that are like up in the 90s who are like, and they're just going to whatever. But my feeling is, and you are going to say it's wrong, but when I'm in the carpool lane, if I'm doing 15 miles above the speed limit and I'm cruising along and I'm still passing people, the speed limit's 65 and I'm doing 79 and I'm motoring and I got cruise control on and I'm still passing people on the freeway, I'm doing my job. I'm not going 20 or 30 miles an hour over the speed limit because you're impatient. You can get out and go around.
When you say you're doing your job, what is your job?
Going faster than the flow of traffic. If I'm passing people, then there should be no complaint. You want me to pass people faster, and I'm like, no, because you get to a certain point, and now that's a felony. So I'm not going to felony.
So I don't want you to go necessarily above 80, but people bunch up behind you, and it becomes like this human centipede back there, and you don't move over. And you would move over if you were in the fast lane and someone wanted to pass you, wouldn't you?
Would I move over for them?
Yes.
If I was in the fast lane, yes.
You were in the fastest lane. You're on the left.
No, you're in the carpool lane. And that is the most occupant efficiency lane.
I understand.
The number one lane is the fast lane.
So it doesn't
I'm already going fast.
Doesn't make any sense for the lane. Doesn't make any sense for the lane to the right to go faster than the lane to the left.
It does when there's a quadruple yellow line that separates the two, and there are different rules for using the left lane than there are for using the next left lane.
But it doesn't always have that. A lot of it is just
That's not true. Then it's not a car. No, that's not true. It's a double or a triple or a double or a quadruple.
But there is no wall there. All right, so it's a make-believe wall. All right, that's irrelevant. What I'm saying is that, listen, what I'm saying is I'm
going fast enough for you. Like, I'm actually protecting you from yourself.
No, you're not. Everyone's saying, like, I'm going fast enough. Go around me. Like, you're not going fast enough.
If I am in a non-carpool lane, and there's multiple lanes, and you are up my butt, I will move over for you. But I'm not going to go 90. You cannot go in and out of the carpool lane where we live. So
I understand.
So
that.
I'm not going. I'm not doing felonious speeds so that you can get there 38 seconds faster than me.
But you're making that call. Like, why is it are you a police officer?
Because I am obeying the rules of the road, and I'm actually not obeying the rules of the road. I'm actually a criminal like you.
Yes, exactly. So what makes you less or more of a criminal? Get the hell out of my way.
Because one of us is going to go to jail, and one of us isn't, and I'm not going to be the one that goes to jail.
But you're the one you're just drawing the line at your comfort level.
I'm drawing my line at I'm not going to the felony stage of speeding.
It's not felony. Look, I am not talking about, and I was in this video, and I will continue to say this, I'm not talking about 90 or 100 miles an hour.
You literally are.
No, I'm not.
I just said I'm doing 79, 80 in the carpool lane.
But you weren't in the times that I've been with you.
Because there's a car in front of me.
You've set it to like...
And you cannot go in and out.
And this is not only about you. This is other people that I've been with. They set it to like 74.
I don't generally speed. My general speed is 10 miles an hour over the speed limit, and I'm fine there.
So you're 75, which is 5 miles an hour slower than you should be going in the fastest lane.
No.
Because California, we're doing 80.
No. That I'm still above the speed limit, and I'm still passing people. You want me to pass people faster. I'm not going to do that. Also, there's a thing of safety. Why do you get to endanger me and my family because you want to go 90?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry, 89 because we're not talking about 90 or 100.
No. Now, when the number one lane is moving slow, then I definitely slow down in the carpool lane.
We're not talking.
Definitely. So if someone that's stupid, right? I'm not trying to pass everyone.
But now you're
3x
adding
the speed.
No, now you're adding caveats to your argument so that you can be right again.
When the
number one lane, like we've done this before with license plates and bollards.
This is how I think. Deal with it, or don't. You won't have to soon.
Soon, yeah, it'll be good. It'll be great.
I'll cut this out. So
nope, he's gonna leave it in.
No, I'm not. So
what was that part that you're gonna cut out?
Just like you have your comfort level, I have my comfort level, but you're imposing your comfort level on me.
I'm not imposing anything on you.
If the number one lane, which is the passing lane,
no. Let's define the language first. Are you calling the carpool lane the number one lane?
No.
Okay, because it's not.
I know
it's the carpool lane.
I'm aware.
Okay.
The number one lane is the first lane that is not the carpool lane.
Okay.
It's number one, and it is, everyone's like, it's the passing lane. I call it the fast lane. I know it's not the fast lane. It is the passing lane. However, in most places, you guys will all agree with me, people like me squat in the first lane, in the number one lane, and go as fast as you can go legally or safely. And here, today, yesterday, day before, and the day before that was 80. And so I go 80, and I will be side by side with the highway patrol, and he doesn't even blink because everyone in this lane is doing 80 safely. When you start to get into a situation...
You should definitely always go as fast as the police car next to you. Always. Let's see how long that works for you.
No,
you don't know if he's on a call. You don't know if he's in a bad mood. You don't know. You don't know if he's going to see your license plate and go, "Oh, that's an illegal white on black license plate."
No, listen. When they're passing people, you don't try to speed up and stay with him. That's insane. No, I'm saying you're just doing the speed of... They don't look at you, and as long as you're flowing with
so don't
traffic,
make eye contact with the cop and you're good.
I didn't mean that. I'm saying, as long as you flow...
If I look at him, he's going to see that I'm speeding next to him.
No, I look over, I wave, I'm like, good job, officer. Yeah, no, I'm saying you just go with freaking the flow.
No, you always go... No, you never go with the flow. You always go 1 or 2 miles an hour slower than the flow, so the guy in front of you gets the ticket.
I realize that's your strategy. If I'm going with the flow, I'm okay. It's when you're not, when you're the sore thumb that sticks out and you're either weaving, you're going faster.
That's you, because you're like, this guy's in my way. Number 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm back.
I don't do that. I don't do that. I hate when people do that.
So you just swear and flip people off and flash your brights.
I will sit.
Do you flash your brights at people?
Under what circumstance? Yes, of course I do. Of course I do.
Do you honk your... If you're in the fast lane...
Yeah.
And you're going 80.
Yes.
And the guy in front of you is going 78.
No.
75.
No, I won't do that. I don't do that. Where I flash my lights is when he's going 55.
That's ridiculous.
But it happens.
No,
it absolutely happens.
Listen,
it happens quite often.
That is an absolute edge case.
It's not an edge case.
It is in the number one lane.
Yes.
I drive 100,000 miles a year in Southern California.
I would say it's once every 2 weeks minimum.
Yes,
once every 2 weeks minimum. I run into the guy.
It's less than 1%. It's just like people who don't.
It's a
modify
1995
F-150s.
Toyota pickup with rakes in it, and he's doing 55 in the fast lane.
Okay, that happens.
Or in the passing lane.
Once a week, where that guy is there.
But I'm behind him. And I flash him, but he can't see me because he's got trash cans and bags of lawn manure in the back.
If he's going that slow, and your speed differential is that different, pass him.
Oh, I do pass it if I can. Sometimes there's so much traffic. He's literally holding up me and hundreds of others.
No, he's not.
And the
he's in one lane.
No, listen to me. The number 2 lane
is going
full.
a lot slower.
No, they're
going
faster.
So maybe he's being safer.
The number 2 lane is going faster.
Then you're undoing your own argument. If the number 2 lane is going faster, then you would go to the number 2 lane and pass him and get back in the number 1 lane.
I want him to get over so he's not holding up everybody else.
He doesn't like you. He doesn't think you're king of the highway.
Doesn't know me.
He doesn't care.
I'm just saying, people, be courteous. If there's someone behind you, whether he's nice or an a-hole, move out of the way. I will get out of the carpool lane if someone wants to haul
You
ass.
just had to
I
get
will.
one last rant in, didn't you?
There's more. There's more.
Is that how this is going to go?
It is the Truck Show podcast. We have Ron Knoch coming up. He is the president of Diesel Motorsports. And what that is a phenomenal series that tours the country. And if you're into sled pulling, huge horsepower on the dyno, eighth mile racing, and show and shines, that whole thing, Ron is your man. We're going to talk diesel coming up.
All right, but before that, I got to tell you about getting passports expedited.
Yours actually was expired?
No. This is what sucks. So I'm supposed to leave on December 31st to go to Dakar.
Yeah.
And Saudi Arabia requires 6 months left on your passport to get a visa.
What?
And so I have basically
What's the rationale
less
there?
than 2 weeks, because if you get something happens in country, you can legally be there, I guess, if you get stranded.
Oh, that makes sense.
So I have to expedite my passport and go deal with that whole thing so that I can go to Dakar.
Are you going up to north on the 405 to the Federal Building in
Nope.
downtown LA,
Nope,
which is the worst thing ever in the whole world?
There's a company that does it all for you. So I'm like, I don't have that kind of time. So pay the money and
How
you
much
do
is
the
pay the
thing.
money? How
It's
much
not cheap.
It's a couple $100, isn't it?
It's more than that. More than that, yeah.
Is it more than 1,000?
No, plus the government fees and all that stuff. But the normal, so you have like emergency expedite, which is 3 to 5 business days. And then the next one, the normal expedite is, I think they said it was 7 to 12 or something like that work days. I don't even have 12 days left, let alone. So I got to do the Mamma Jamma one, and that's going to suck.
What do they do? They actually hire a human to go stand in line at the Federal Building? There's no way to get around that.
I don't know. You sign up forms, and if they're your agent who can process all this stuff for you, they have a computer.
They're sending someone to stand in line.
Full computer. So you do all the things, and it prints out like a full stack of documents that has everything filled in. You do it online. It prints it all out with all the forms and barcodes and everything.
Dude, you're human trafficking now.
Then you sign it, and then you put it in a FedEx with your passport and your new passport photos, and you send them on its way, and then they come back.
It's going to some poor...
Don't know.
Some poor African kid
No,
is going to
I don't think so.
get to stand in line for you.
No, because when I went to AAA to get my my passport photo, it was the same company AAA uses. Oh, we can expedite through these guys, but because I got my discount through Clear because of my Delta status, they did it also. So I felt better going to AAA, finding out they had the same company who does that. So I'm like, all right, well, at least I know it's legit if AAA is using it. So I had to do all that stuff today. I'm still trying to figure out my axle issue, so that's been super fun.
So your Jeep is still smiling.
It hasn't moved. I literally haven't even opened a door since the last time we recorded. And on top of all that stuff, I was at the LA Auto Show.
Do you do the
for
same
the past
thing
2 weeks?
When your kids get hurt and they have to go to the doctor?
I just leave them.
You just leave them and shun them,
I actually
right?
put them in the fast lane, and I just say, try figure it out.
Touche.
Funny story. My daughter actually drove on the freeway for the first time.
Did she go in the fast lane?
She said she was terrified of all the lanes. She was terrified. So
that's what happens.
Anyway, so then we wrapped up our OVR. So I just wanted to do a quick shout out because there were a lot of listeners who came up to me at the auto show, and they were like, one guy's like, Holman? And I was like shoving my face with food. I'm like, and he goes, oh, I love the show. I'm like, okay. He's like, sorry to interrupt you while you're eating. I'm like, okay.
Did you take a photo with him with the food in your beard?
I don't think I took a photo with him, but I definitely took a photo with quite a few people. So
look at you being a celebrity.
no, it was weird. I was sitting there with my business partners, and people were walking up, and they're like, oh, hey, I listen to the podcast. And I was like, wow, there's actually people who listen to the show.
How do they know what
real.
you look like? I mean, I guess social media, or they follow at Sean P. Holman, I suppose.
I mean, I guess so. Oh, and a special shout out to Marco
Polo.
Bonello. He's the one that came up to me, and he owns the pizza place in San Pedro.
Oh, the one we were going to do a show from and never did.
We never did
because we sucked.
And so he came up. He goes, "Hey, we met, at this other show." I go, "Pizza place." He goes, "Yeah, in San Pedro." I go, "It's funny because I was just talking about going there, and I've been traveling so much, like I haven't forgotten you." And he was like, probably like, "Yeah, right, a-hole."
Right.
And and yeah, so as soon as I'm done traveling, I'm gonna go to San Pedro, and I'm gonna go have some pizza.
Did he say,
"You're a lying sack of shit"?
No, why would he say that? If you guys go to Bonello'sNewYorkPizza.com.
what are you trying to grease him now?
Yeah, at Bonello's Pizza San Pedro on Instagram.
It's Pedro.
Whatever.
No one says Pedro. You live here. You know it's not Pedro.
And it's not Interstate 405. So there.
Okay.
So anyway, shout out to Marco and his family. So thanks for stopping by and saying hi. Anyway, it was great. It was great seeing people. And I told you I got to do tours, right?
Yes, you got you took tours. Oh, no. I was confusing that. I was thinking the tour of the Nissan Armada because you told me about the woman who was like, she had the Range Rover and she fell in love with the Armada.
So this past week, I had a couple more tour groups. It was weird. It was weird, like leading regular people around the auto show and like, hey, this is blah, blah, blah.
Why is it weird?
I don't know. It's weird because I'm always around like people who are super car knowledgeable and these people are just like, teach me about cars. So we spent 2.5 hours doing that.
Is it refreshing?
Dude, I made a big tip.
Is it
Sunday.
refreshing?
It was. I don't know if it's refreshing. I think it was interesting.
Okay.
And then this family was great, and
You got a tip.
Shook my hand, and it was a giant wad of cash.
No way.
Yeah. I was like, thanks.
Wad of ones? Like they go to strip joints? What do you mean?
No,
wad of cash.
just thick.
Like how much? More than $100?
Around there.
They gave you $100 for walking them around the show? How much of the show did you walk them?
The entire show.
You walked them the whole show?
Yeah.
Something's fishy here. You have
No.
a strange smirk on your face.
Do you want me to pull it out of my wallet? I still have it.
Yeah,
it was
like,
weird because I'm not in the service industry. Like I'm not used to get like I wasn't doing this to get tips. I didn't think and the guys just like
Did they know you were a big shot?
No.
Like
Why, I mean, told
radio
them.
host?
No, I just told I'm like, hey, I'm an automotive journalist. I'm going to teach you what I know, and I did that. And then they're like, oh, we're looking at this car, and I'm like, oh, that's a great car. Blah blah blah.
Were they dripping in jewelry
No,
and Rolexes?
No, they're
and
just regular
Gucci
regular
shoes
people.
and stuff. Really?
It was 6 friends, 3 couples, and I took them around the auto show, and then they gave me a fat tip. So
Did they ask
I
you for
appreciate
this?
you guys.
How did this even come
No,
about?
they signed up at the LA Auto Show and they said, we want to do this VIP tour, and they pay to go on the tour.
Okay.
And they get into the show an hour early, and they get a little continental breakfast, and they get me and some other people, and you walk around with like
do you get paid to do this, or is it
Yes.
volunteer? You do.
No, I got paid.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
And they paid me same day. And they paid for my parking. It's great.
I didn't know this was even a possibility.
Listen, it's been a crazy few weeks. So LA Auto Show, bent axle, passport stuff going to
Are you
the
going to start
car.
serving tables here at waiting tables?
If I keep getting paid like that, yeah, it's paid better than anything else that I'm doing right now.
A lot of revelations happening before we even get to the intro.
And then I leave like next week to go drive Nissans in Tennessee, the new Armada. Got a lot going on, man.
Yeah, apparently. So do I.
a lot with this show, too.
All right. So speaking of Nissan and the Armada, Holman.
Well, it's cool because the Nissan Armadas that I got to see early were the same ones at the LA Auto Show. It was the Platinum Reserve, and it was the Pro 4X. And I was kind of curious, like, what people were going to think about them, so I just kind of hung out for a little bit. People were like, oh, look at this. Oh, it looks so good. Oh, the interior is like, all right. I asked the lady who was working the booth, I said, what was the reaction all week? She goes, awesome. People crawling all over these things. So
Nissan was happy.
yeah, I think so.
Good.
So a lot of people were soaking up the Armada. It's awesome. Can't wait to drive it. I think it's going to be pretty cool. So we'll bring back some audio from that. And the new Frontier was there, and they had so Nissan across their Rock Creek, which is their like kind of little, more rugged packages, has the 3 slats along with Pro 4Xs have those kind of remind you of the old hard body. And then they had some bright Nissan kicks. And then nice thing about it, Nissan had 2 GTRs at the show. This is last year they made them. And a lot of people were like, oh, dude, GTR. And the thing about the GTRs, that design's 15 years old.
It's crazy.
And it still looks good.
I was going to say, it does not look dated at all.
No, it's probably one of the few cars that came out of that era that is that I would consider timeless. Like it's a great looking car. And, if you guys have never driven a GTR, they're special because most car companies are trying to put in isolation and make them quieter and take you away from the driving experience. And when, Godzilla, which is the nickname for this thing, was created, the Japanese engineers wanted you to be very visceral, wanted you to hear it. So it's not hiding anything. You put in launch control mode, it's like, and you hear the transaxle locking things up.
Does it sound like a transformer?
Yeah, and do that thing would knock off 3.2 seconds 0 to 60, no problem, every single time, super consistently. Just a great car. Like I'm kind of sad it's gone because the more than a handful of times I've had a chance to drive it, I'm like,
I gotta feel like
awesome.
they've got something up their sleeves.
I'm sure.
They've got to, right? They've always had a halo.
Anyway, head on down to your local Nissan dealership. Check out the trucks or SUVs that you want. Oh, by the way, I'll save it for news.
Yeah, please do.
I'll save it for news.
Yeah.
Nissan Frontier, Pro 4X, we love it. The new Armada Platinum Reserve Pro 4X. By the way, the new Armada base price starts as the same as last year, which is nowhere close to as great as a vehicle as the new one is. Head on down to your local dealer, do a test drive, let them know the Truck Show podcast sent you. It'll mean nothing, but it feels good to us.
Well, although that may feel like nothing, this will feel like something. So you guys are getting into your trucks, and it's just, you're feeling slush pedal. You're stepping in a bucket of mud, and it doesn't go anywhere. Your truck, it just does not accelerate. Get yourself this stocking stuffer, or ask your wife or your buddy to get you a Banks Pedal Monster. It completely changes your truck. I'm not joking. Whether you have a 5.7 Hemi, you've got a straight 6 Cummins, they're all sluggish. And this will really, really help. I'm telling you, everyone who's tried a Pedal Monster is like, my truck should have felt like this from the factory. And it's got all the safety features you'd come to expect from Banks Power, which is active safety, reverse safety, and so much more. You'll feel safe, and it will give you acceleration like you've never felt before in your truck. Go to bankspower.com, type in your year, make, and model to find yours.
And if you guys have been following us on our Instagram, you probably saw the reels we did. By the way, our 10 millimeter reel, dude, over 4,000 views in the last few days.
I was happy with that.
That's pretty good, right?
Yeah.
It's still gaining.
He's talking about the 10 millimeter socket from AMSOIL.
That's right. So head on over to our Instagram account at Truck Show Podcast, or even on our Facebook page. But there's a deal going on right now from now, which would start on Black Friday, through December 13th. If you go to AMSOIL and you buy more than $125 worth of stuff, and that could be their new merch, that could be oil change stuff, it could be lube, whatever you got going on.
This jacket
could
right
be
here,
that nice jacket.
Dude, how baller is
Dude,
this
how did
jacket?
you get that jacket?
I don't know. I got to be honest with you, but
That's a really nice
dude,
jacket.
and it's made in Wisconsin.
Yeah,
this jacket's actually made in Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's a really nice jacket. Yeah. So go there, spend $125, use the code TRUCKSHOW, and if you do, the promotion for that is you get AMSOIL's 10 millimeter emergency socket set free, and it's made by Boxo, so it's not some like just chintzy deal. It's actually like Boxo tool. So go to our Instagram at Truck Show Podcast. Click on the reels. You can see the funny reel that we did with. I mean, everybody can relate to opening the toolbox and then 10 millimeter being gone. Mm-hmm. I think we did a good job of having fun with that.
I think we did.
All right, AMSOIL.com, the first in synthetics.
And you guys still have a couple of days to get in on this deal over at EGRUSA.com. As you know, it's Lightning. I've got the roll track retractable. Mine is electric, but the deal right now is on manual, which is great because it'll help you slide in. You're spending a lot of money at Christmas. This is a little less expensive. So if you're looking for a manual roll track bed cover, which is state of the art, now through the end of December, you can get 30% off your online purchase, as well as a $250 rebate, again, on the manual roll track bed cover at EGRUSA.com. One more time, 30% off your online purchase, plus a $250 rebate. Head over to EGRUSA.com, type in your year, make, and model to find yours.
The Truck Show. We're gonna show you what we know. We're gonna answer what the truck, 'cause truck rhymes with the Truck Show. We have the lifted, we have the lowered, and everything in between. We'll talk about trucks that run on diesel and the ones that run on gasoline. The Truck Show, the Truck Show, the Truck Show. Whoa, whoa.
It's the Truck Show with your hosts, Lightning and Holman.
You're getting punchy over there.
Holman, we get to talk diesel. We get to talk diesel. No? Not in?
Well, I mean, that's only one part of what we're going to talk about.
It's my favorite part.
Yeah.
Can we call Ron?
Let's do it.
All right.
Ron Knoch.
Ron, it is Lightning and Holman from the Truck Show Podcast. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Fantastic. Hey, we're excited to talk to you. We've got a million topics.
But we're more excited to play this jingle first.
That's got to happen. Don't move.
Yo, the Truck Show. Who dis? Who dis? Who the hell is this? A Truck Show interview you don't want to miss. We talk to top dogs in the industry. How'd you blow up? How'd you come to be? Who dis? Who dis? Truck Show represent.
If Ron has never listened to the show before, he's in horror right now.
Yeah,
going,
he's
"What
incredibly
is-"
disappointed with his life choices.
I got to get a double drink after hearing it.
That is very
That's
true.
fair.
On the phone, we've got Ron Knoch. He is president of Diesel Motorsports. And you're like, what is Diesel Motorsports?
You might not ask that question if you actually pay attention to Diesel Motorsports, though.
Diesel Motorsports has a series of, I think, 10 events around the country, and they're becoming the go-to guys for diesel motorsport events, whether it's like drag racing, sled pulling, dyno, show and shine, all that stuff. They're the guys like to watch out for when it comes to like hobbyists or professional racers. So we got a lot of ground to cover here with you, Ron. First off, I think we were turned on to by our mutual friends at AMSOIL. So I wanted to find out what your relationship was with AMSOIL or is with AMSOIL, and then we're going to cover a lot of diesel ground.
Great. Well, they're one of our main sponsors. They're the official oil for our line, and we endorse all their products. In fact, I've used their products on my own truck. It's a 96 12 valve with 300,000 miles on it.
Oh, it's just a baby.
Baby.
Yeah. Not only just oil, but the other lubricants, the rear end grease, everything. I mean, my old truck has these oil products on it.
So then how did you get to, did they come to you? Did you go to them? Or how did that, the marriage happen?
We had a lot of their local dealers come to us at the events. And then eventually I hooked up with them at one of the trade shows and got with their marketing people. We hooked up there and started talking about what can be done sponsorship wise. So they hopped on a few years ago, and they've been with us ever since.
Now, Ron, you and I were talking, and we have orbited the same planet of people for like 20, 25 years. And you used to be heavily involved with a lot of the magazine guys back in the day, and we've got a bunch of mutual friends, as we talked about. How did you get into automotive, and then how did you become basically the owner and promoter of a race series?
Well, actually, I started over 35 years ago as an ad agency. One of our main clients was Aerospeed Warehouse, which was the old Performance Corner that was right here in Kansas City. And I worked with it for well over 18 years. And then I started doing marketing consulting. And one day I got a call out of nowhere from a fellow over in Indiana. And he said, "Hey, I got your from SEMA that said you were the truck marketing guy we need to talk to. We're doing a diesel truck series, and we just started it." And that was Eric McBride over at Diesel Hot Rod Association, DHRA, and they are the original ones that started all this. And he said, "We need you to come and let us know what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong." And so they signed me up, paid me to come down to Houston. They were having their year-end event. Saw everybody compete there. And I said, "Well, you're doing everything good. You have insurance. You have rules. It's well done. You have a lot of high-end trucks." And I said, "I only see one thing missing." Then he goes, "Well, what's that?" And I said, "Well, you got 5,000 pickups in the parking lot. No one is selling them anything." And Eric goes, "Well, do you have some people that would be interested in this?" I said, "Oh, yeah, let me pick up my Rolodex back then, and I think I could find a few, yes."
Now, back then, did you have...
Are you going to ask him about an actual Rolodex?
No, it's
like the kind that rotate the 360
Well, that's what he's talking
degrees?
about.
Yeah,
I was going to ask him if he had two of them, because the people that I knew that were always closing, the ballers, they had two Rolodex.
I had two.
Yeah,
I
there
had
was
two.
there was the ones that you knew you could count on, and then there was the prospects Rolodex, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rolodexes, right?
That's how you knew. You would go to somebody's office, and there's a bunch of young guys listening right now. They're like, "Oh, what?" It was literally a round like card holder, and you would spin a knob on it, and it would...
It was alphabetized.
Yeah,
It had-
alphabetized.
yep. So I didn't pay. I had an intern at the radio station. I had two Rolodexes, and they were full, and I paid them to put it into Outlook when Outlook was, well, I guess it was relatively new at that time, like late 90s. And I paid them, it was like created, and I've had that file ever since. Like that's the file that's on my phone now.
I wonder how
in
many
Outlook.
people still have a Rolodex on their desk. There's got to be people out there, right?
I think Ron probably has one just for like, say, just like as a memento in the back.
He just goes through and sees all of his friends that are no longer around anymore. "Oh, I missed that guy. Oh, that was a good customer. I wonder where he is
That
today."
guy's an asshole. I'm not calling him again. I'm going to tear it up and throw it in the trash.
Maybe maybe so.
Dude, I remember when people used to do that. Like, if I would call in a PR guy, like, I don't know, I wanted Tom Cruise or someone, and, like, Pamela Cates would not return my call. I would just, like, rip that thing out of there and crumple it up and throw it in the trash. Like, and then I go, I probably shouldn't do that. I need to keep on her good side. So, Ron, let's talk through the series. And so you're more from like a guy who's contributing sponsors to this thing to the president. Somehow you run the thing.
Yep.
It turns into a series, like I said, a 10-stop series. I think it's 10, right? Am I wrong?
It depends on the year, but we used to run upwards to 28 different events over the year.
Oh, geez. Okay. And the culmination is at the PRI show in December, here in December on the 14th. So you're, I guess you got 2 dates, 13th and 12th through 14th at the PRI show.
Indiana.
Which is what is it? Performance Racing something? It's owned by SEMA now, right? Yeah, big racing show out there in Indianapolis. And there's all kinds of good racing that happens out there. Take us through building this lineup and the kind of crowds that you get and what we can expect to see at these shows.
Well, it's changed over the 18 years we've been doing this quite a bit. It started out to be mainly sled pulling and dyno, but then it kind of transformed into split between sled pulling and drag racing. And then the drag racing has become bigger and sled pulling has kind of fallen to the wayside now. And the dyno has certainly fallen to the wayside ever since the tuners have been
getting busted. Yeah.
Yes,
So, we're going to talk about that in a second because that's a big portion of this that I think we couldn't gloss over. The events they're well attended. You've got thousands of people in the grandstands, and they're seeing trucks competing in horsepower. And now it's, we've got trucks over 3,000 horsepower, which is bonkers. And every once in a while, they throw a piston into the audience.
Well, they try to avoid that.
They try to avoid it, but it happens.
It's not really a piston. Usually, it's just a compressor wheel through the exhaust and the hood.
That's true. I've seen pieces go out, but like obviously, Ron probably doesn't want us to talk about that. It was bad for insurance, but it's great for the crowd.
You know what, guys? We've never had that happen at our events.
Okay.
Well, that's impressive.
Okay. So do you make fun of the other guys that do?
So Lightning's a big lying liar that lies.
Listen, it was, okay.
He's trying to be funny, and then it's totally backfired on him
It's fine. That's fine. He's got a competitor in the scene. We all know there's 3 letters, and it's happened there. We've all seen that video footage. But it hasn't happened at Ron's events.
A lot of that is planned. A lot of that is for the internet. But steadfast racing, our guys have to compete, at least go down the track 3 or 4 times in order to place. And it's more of a true, but we also have some street classes, not only in sled bowling, but also in drag racing, where it's hot street trucks. And, just the past couple of years, because of what you just mentioned, there's a lot of the sled pulling organizations that have now dropped the street truck classes.
We're kind of dancing around it, but let's get into it. So this is no new topic to Holman and I. We've talked about the delete thing for quite some time, and tuners and guys who are moving emissions equipment in order to make big power, or just more simply put, taking a VIN vehicle that you drive every day on the road, whether it's a car, truck, motorcycle, and then modifying it so seriously or really doing anything that affects positively or negatively the emissions equipment. And the EPA's not okay with that, and we've all heard about it. We've seen about it. We've talked to many tuners from SEMA Lab to the guys who've gotten popped. Our listeners are very familiar with this topic. This sport that you're in, that you are president of this organization, you see this stuff every day. Like, to make big horsepower, it's very, very difficult to do it with emissions equipment intact. If it had a DPF, it's getting full every single quarter mile or eighth mile that you're running. Like, it's not plausible to it's not doable.
The high-end vehicles that are used in racing and bowling in our series are nowhere even want to be on the street with them. They are made for what they're made, racing or high-end sled pulling. I don't know if you've ever ridden in a 3.0 or a 2.6 sled pulling truck more than 30 feet. You will not want that on the street. It would jar. There is no suspension. There is no steering. It is made to go 300 straight feet and shut down. I mean, there's no way that thing's going to be on a street vehicle.
I remember we did a Diesel Power Challenge one year. One of the Cummins trucks blew out its freeze plugs, lost two of the 6 cylinders, and was on fire. It was still pulling down the line, and it was just like you just can't kill it.
Well, we've seen somewhere like the suspension is falling apart, and it's just like powering through suspension that is leaving behind.
I remember seeing an IFS Dooley Chevy 3500, and he launched from the line and had a Duramax that was all done up. Mm-hmm. And I will distinctly swear, I remember this, will swear till the day I die, that whole frame twisted like a banana as it lifted up and the wheels pointed inward at each other. And I'm like, he's a banana. And I'm sure it probably wasn't that extreme, but in the moment, I literally saw the whole thing twist as it was pulling away. And I was like, wow.
No, honestly, most of the high-end drag racing vehicles and the sled pulling vehicles have not seen a street for many years. Most of them are trailered in. And they're made specifically for high-end performance, just like an NHRA drag racer pro stock car would be, or a tractor would be, and tractor pulling. They're not made to be out on the street. They're not made to be driven every day. These are competition vehicles. What they get bent out of shape about is the young guys changing the original equipment, which technically is against the law, but on older vehicles, it's not. That's why you see so many older pickup trucks still being driven and still being hot rodded. Kind of reminds me of the old muscle car days.
For sure. Yeah. You're not
pre-smog pump, baby. Let's keep those things around forever.
Yeah, I mean, look at the old 5.9s, pre-def, all the SCR, pre-everything, exactly. That's why it's like you were looking for them.
That would be a pre-refinement.
True. Pre-good suspension.
Yeah, pre-comfort.
Look at the dollars those things are bringing. I mean, if you can find an old 6 with 250,000 miles on it in good shape, that's on the street, you're still talking $25,000 to $30,000.
Yeah. I had a question. Why does it seem to be so many of the high horsepower builds on the dyno, which I think is that's one of my favorite. A lot of people love the sled pulling, others racing. Mine is the dyno because it's crazy. It's very short. It's like, boom, big horsepower. Hopefully it doesn't explode. But why Cummins, I wonder? There are other trucks competing in dyno, but it seems like the records are being set with Cummins-based trucks.
Well, here's the old standard I used to use, and this was done by a research lab back probably about 10 years ago. On the old 5.9 Cummins, you can take it up to at least 38% extra horsepower before internal engine parts start breaking. Okay. Duramax, you can take up to about 23%. Ford, 11%. So that might give you a little bit of a clue why the Cummins.
There's just so much more overhead.
Yeah. Okay.
They've designed the components, the OEs have designed the components, thus being the Cummins engine, to far exceed what the specs are. Ford, being on the bottom end, designed their components to be almost right up to the point. This is the horsepower expected to be for all the engine components. And if you take it over that, then yes, you got to go find some heavy duty or internal parts, piston rings, rods, cranks, you name it, valves, everything.
So what this proves is that hot rodding is not dead. Obviously, there's a massive amount of people out there, especially in the diesel category. But as the regulations have tightened up, as new trucks have come out with tighter emissions and more power, what are the trends that you're seeing, both with the vehicles? Is it mostly old stuff, or is it somebody brings in something brand new just to show off that they can do it? And then how have the events changed? And are you seeing more gas people wanting to play as diesels become more expensive to mod? Are there gas classes now?
Yeah, we provide gas classes. They can't quite get up to the horsepower of the diesels. But you got to realize, I mean, the brand new diesels coming off the OEM lines are almost 500 horse now. So it doesn't take a whole lot to get them up to 700-800 horse. And used to, they were 180 horse trucks going up to 500-600 horse. And that was considered a huge jump. But the guys that are taking them up to 2,000 horse, 3,000 horse, those engines are nowhere near about the only thing OEM left on them may be the block, and that's about it.
Yeah, there's a lot of billet on those engines, I would imagine. I watch a lot of those videos, and there's a lot of aluminum cans that have been melted to make that engine.
And it's funny because there's a lot of those engines that have reversed the favor by melting down their aluminum bits to return it back to its natural form.
That's true. Did you ever think when you started this all these years ago that you'd see 3,000 horsepower from a quote-unquote regular truck? It's nuts. 3,000 horsepower is bonkers.
Well, you got to realize that's using a lot of nitrous, and that's for a very short period of time. And when it does hit that, it generally hits that, and then stuff start to blow apart. So a lot of nitrous is used, even some jet fuel mixed in with the diesel, that kind of thing. So, and it's again on a high end experimental diesel engine that's generally billet block, special pistons, special rods, special cranks, special rings, everything all the way up from the bottom. But it still is quite an accomplishment, but because they're taking it to the edge of showing what can be done with this format, with this fuel format that no one's ever done before. Now, what's the street guy done? Nowhere even close to that, but it inspires them to wish they could. Just like NASCAR, just like NHRA, the high-end dragsters, it inspires the guys to do stuff to their vehicles because it's personalizing them. That's what the automotive industry has been about for well over 100 years. Let's personalize the vehicle to the way I want it.
Ron, how does someone get involved in your series who has a near stock vehicle, just wants to be a part of the scene, or must they be at a much higher level to get in? Like, do you have entry classes?
Absolutely. We got some great entry classes. I've inspired a lot of the young guys. We even give classes in ET bracket racing. I tell them all the time, it's not how fast you can go. It's how good are you at knowing your vehicle. You estimate your time going down the track. And if you can hit that time accurately 3-4 times, you may be in the winner's circle. And I've got guys actually do that. I've told them, we've given them a class. We've showed them how to do it. I had a guy in Salt Lake City when we used to run our series out there before the track got tore up. 88 trucks were in the ET class.
Wow.
Holy mackerel.
And this guy had never raced before. I showed him how to do it, gave him a few classes on it. So we were lining people up to get the trophies. And I'm like, what are you doing up here? And he goes, I won, Ron. I go, you won? And he goes, 8 trucks. I won. I did, just like you said. And he says, these guys that come out here every weekend were so pissed at me.
Did you have to change the rules after that?
No, it's same old rules. It's whoever can get the closest to the time.
Love it.
And he won first, and he got $1,000 check, and a big trophy.
Nice.
So, yeah. So we try to take care of the street classes. Same way in sled pulling. Guys always wonder, well, that looks really hard. Guys, can you pull a 5,000-pound trailer? Well, yeah, I do that every week. Well, then you can do sled pulling because the sled has weight reductions and the speed it goes down the track. You can pull literally down the track at a 5,000-pound tongue weight the whole way.
Lightning does that, and he doesn't even need a truck.
How dare you?
Yeah, these guys can take a regular truck. In fact, we have a stock called Pure Work Stock. It's not stock appearing turbo. It is pure turbo, what came with the truck to pull down the track. And the sleds adjust it, and they have fun doing it, and they go, wow, that's how it gets them started in the sport.
So then at what point do you start breaking things on a stock truck? Like, is it the weight? Is it the speed? Is it the combination?
What is it that starts breaking things?
Is it hopping? Like, yeah. At what point do I go, I just spent 80 grand on this truck?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
80? Man, I was just at the LA Auto Show, and there's like 109 fully tilt.
No, I'm talking about
dually, man.
I'm talking about a used 04.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Well, did you start with a truck that had 20,000 miles on it, or did you start with 40,000 miles on it?
Right.
So obviously the older truck's going to break stuff quicker, you know. It's how far they push it. You know, I've had a lot of guys show up and they're like, my truck, my street trucks, it does 1,000 horse. We're gonna wipe everybody up. I had a pull in Ohio one year. We had a street class. Some old white-haired guy shows up in a dually Cummins, drove there, didn't change his tires, anything, put it in gear, and out-pulled everybody by 40 feet.
Wow. I was hoping you were going to tell me it was an 0573 Excursion.
And then he blew off
on stock street
Then
tires.
he blew off his knuckles, rubbed them on his jacket, got it, and drove away, and nobody's heard from him since. He lives only in legend.
Yeah, this guy didn't have any big fancy wheels or decals or, lifted truck. It was just a regular old farm truck he drove up there.
I love it.
Put 40.
He goes back to the stands and he picks up his wife and he goes, "Come on, Cheryl,
let's go.
Let's go home."
I won the bet.
I'm buying Cracker Barrel.
Tell Bobby I won the bet. We're going.
I had a local shop that put up an additional $1,000. So that was like a $2,000 or $2,500 purse for first. And I called him and I said, hey, was that your grandfather that snuck in there and won that?
Oh no! He's like,
wow.
No. Oh, he's like, that was me.
Tough crowd.
And he goes, no, I don't know who that guy was. It's all on the surface. Obviously, a couple of locals told me, oh, that old guy over in his county goes to every county pull in that same old truck, and he beats everybody because he knows what gear to put it in, when to shift it up, and how to pull. That's good.
Hey, knowing is half the battle.
Yeah, I mean, it's like any racers. The racers that come to ours, the guys that win on a routine, on a yearly basis, it's because they're good at the lights. They're regular old-time racers. They know how to cut the lights. They know how to go down the track. They know how to find the surface and the groove in the track and how to take off, measure the track for what it can do. I've had a lot of guys in their high-end trucks show up and go, this track is crap. This track is no good.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, yeah, whatever. They were running 3-second Pro Mod NHRA vehicles down it last weekend. So yeah, I don't think so.
Why do you suppose we get gypped out here on the West Coast? Like, there is technically a few events, kind of Northern California, Sacramento, but there's no SoCal. There's not much. Like, there used to be some stuff in Phoenix.
There's
not really anymore.
There's a lot in Utah. There's some stuff in Vegas.
Simple reason for that. It's called California.
Yeah.
None of my manufacturers, none of my sponsors can sell parts in California. Why would events in a state where we can't? Hell, some of my guys can't even pull their vehicles on a semi into the state of California because they get stopped at the border and said, I have the right equipment on the semi.
Yeah,
We
we hear that.
I mean, come on. Really?
It's only going to get worse, which sucks.
We actually held one at Bakersfield at the first year. We held one out there years ago, and it was quite well attended. We had all the local guys, but then the following year, that's when they made the rule change that any older vehicles cannot come in the state of California. That pretty well did away. anybody wanting to come to California.
Well, we're just trying to keep the pores out.
Keep the pores out. Because he's got an old truck.
Yeah.
Jeez. Hold on. We're the capital of homeless. We
Yeah, I know.
We're doing an awful job. if that's the
We do an
case.
awful job at everything.
Oh my God.
I am coming back out to Las Vegas. We held one in Las Vegas. I am talking about coming back out there. So,
Well, that's a
I mean, that's
3-hour
close.
drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah, that's close.
yeah, maybe we could squeak some of you California boys over across the border over into Vegas,
Yeah, you'll just have to hide us in the back of a diesel-powered U-Haul that has that holographic California-approved diesel sticker on the fender, and then they'll never check, and we'll just all of us outlaws will just ride in the back.
Well, the flyover states, us guys here in the flyover states, there's not a whole lot that goes on in California. I mean, we use our trucks to not only work, farm, we do everything in them. Still in Missouri, I think a turbo is considered a muffler in Missouri still.
I think that's fair.
I can see that.
And I know you call it the flyover states, but just so everybody knows, I try and drive cross country at least once a year. Mm-hmm. So I think I do a fairly good job of making sure that I'm paying attention to the rest of the country and not just being some West Coast elitist that's trying to bypass all the good stuff.
Well, I tell you what, the concentration of trucks, and we've gone everywhere in the past 18, 20 years, all over the country. But I can tell you the majority of the trucks and the high horsepower trucks are in the farm states, everywhere from Kansas over to the state of New York. Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania are huge into the diesel pickups because it's still a huge farming community there.
Which is crazy, by the way. The middle of California is all farmland. I mean, your almonds come from your oranges.
Well, if you look
at
at the map, everything that's not the coast was red.
Correct. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, for you guys who were watching politics, a couple weeks back, most of the state is red and farmland.
And where we live is red, except for the cheating that went on. Otherwise, we would be
so like Ron. I don't know if you know this. I work for Gale Banks. We get the numbers from SEMA and from Experian, and we look at the actual numbers of trucks that are on the road, and the highest population of trucks, or the most trucks per capita, is California, followed by Texas, and then Florida, and then the rest of the country. It's ironic that the most trucks are in California, but it's the most heavily regulated, and people who are in the media and everything else think that there are the fewest trucks in California. It could not be more polar opposite than what they believe and what the media would have you.
We're abundant with all sorts of things.
You may have a lot of trucks, but do people spend money on their trucks?
Yes, they do.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, they do. They really do. But they're not doing it's weird. You come in a Northern California because it's more farming, and so you do have the sled pulling. You do where guys will go to Utah and all that stuff. And I sponsor some guys that do this stuff, and that even participate in your series. But you get into Southern California, and they don't come into the cities because, frankly, parking's tight, freeways are tight, all that stuff. So you get 15, 20 minutes outside of Los Angeles or Orange County, and all of a sudden it's Truckville. And it's that way all the way to Las Vegas and beyond. And so everyone in the rest of the country assumes, rightfully so, that everyone's driving a Prius or a Tesla. And it could not be farther from the truth. Like, I surprise people all the time. It's like Corey Willis.
Why? Because you drive a Barbie Jeep?
Just remember when Corey Willis came out here for the first time in California.
Which was funny because I didn't know that was his first time, and we traded him to In-N-Out.
Yes.
And the thing that sucks is we used to be able to tell people, well, we have In-N-Out and you don't. And they're like,
Now
well,
they
I
do.
hate California, but you have In-N-Out. And now everybody has In-N-Out.
Well,
And
not
it's like,
everybody.
well,
Not-
but
not-
select places.
Some.
do.
So
but some of the naysayers, now we can't throw that back in their face. We have nothing now.
So he tunes a lot of these trucks and did tune a lot of these trucks. And Corey comes out here the first time, and he's from Louisiana. First thing he notices, I've never seen so many. I didn't even know they made this many Teslas. So when we were in like LA proper, but then we start cruising him around, and he starts seeing trucks everywhere. And he's like, I didn't realize you had this many trucks. I said, you're still in the city. Wait till I take you just over this hill, and your whole perspective is going to change. And it did. He was stunned. And then I showed him the numbers. and I show them how
Oh,
many,
yeah.
how many Chevy Ford, and Rams are sold here, and it's eye opening. But it's just not in L.A. or San Francisco where all the politicians and the media are, which it's unfortunate.
Right.
Well, and I think that we've been forced out here to do things a little bit different, right? We can't be as brash and with our modifications. We have to use a little bit more thought in how we do it because we have to make sure it's emissions legal. But that's also, as much as you hate it, it's also what's pushed innovation too. I mean, you look at the hot rods when smog pumps and gas was changed to unleaded and all the things. And we overcame that, and the industry was still out here at that time. Now it's kind of spread out throughout the country. But it forced us to be better at engineering, and I feel as much as you might hate the regulations here, as most of us do, it's not necessarily a bad thing for what the outcome is. It's a pain in the butt the rest of the time, and they really want to be a giant fun sponge and keep anyone from being happy. But when I'm smoking a cigar on my porch at 70 degrees in a December afternoon, there's a lot of things I cannot worry about. But it's forced us to be better. It really has. It's forced the outcome and more ingenuity and more engineering. So that, I think, is maybe an unexpected byproduct.
For years, I always thought, why LA, why California? So I started coming to MPMC by SEMA way in the probably 2006, somewhere in there. So every year flying in, I could see, and I actually drove in from Phoenix a lot of years, and I could see the smog settling over LA. But I've always wondered, you guys, you have like 6 to 8 lanes one way on your freeways.
Oh, we have more than that. The I-5 by Disneyland, I think,
expanded.
has 17 now or something like that.
Well, that's
both sides.
Oh, both sides, yeah. But here's my question. If you have that much population and that much traffic, how come they don't have public transportation? And I asked
that's easy, because we're Californians and F you, we don't like public transportation because we like to express ourselves in our vehicles.
They've tried it, no one would ride it. And I'm like,
yep.
Well, then you quit building 16-lane freeways and make people wait 5 hours to get into town.
Listen, let me tell you a little story. So,
wait. Are you about to school Ron?
No,
okay.
I'm telling him a little story.
Okay.
So, here's the thing: is I live in Orange County, near one of the busiest sections of we call it the 405 because we're Californians. Everybody else goes, it's I-405. Why do Californians say the in front of the freeway system? It's just what we do here, all right? And
except it's not the OC. That's because of the TV show.
No,
Before, we just called it OC.
And
then they put the.
That's people don't. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, F them.
All right, so we did this improvement project, and we added a bunch of lanes, express lanes, and they said this is the one of the busiest sections of highway in the entire United States, and it literally goes right by my house. And I can't remember how many billions of dollars they spent, but it was I want to say maybe a 12-mile stretch of freeway. Added express lanes, added additional lanes, and they said this is going to ease traffic. And now the toll lanes are like $20 in each direction to go there, and it's just as bad as it used to be. And you're going, and so up in LA, by where the Getty Center is, and by Sunset where the 405 goes up, they did this thing. They called it Carmageddon because it's the only way out of northern Los Angeles, the main route. They closed it for like 48 hours when they were widening the freeway there. And it was a big deal. They said if you cannot leave Los Angeles through the north while this is going on. And so they called it Carmageddon. They did this thing.
Every radio station had a jingle that went, Carmageddon is coming.
Well, it's funny because it was the 405 freeway, and JetBlue had a promotion. You could fly from Long Beach to Burbank, which went over it, for $4 or $5.
That's a 3-minute trip.
It was like it's 12, and we had. You could call, and I called, and I got on that flight. My daughter and I, it was the first time she was on an airplane. We flew from Long Beach to Burbank and back.
No, you did not.
Yeah, and the pilot...
You just polluted more than Taylor Swift.
Yeah, totally. And so we're flying over Carmageddon, and it's hilarious. The pilot's like, if you look out the left side, you can see Carmageddon down below. So everybody gets out of their seats, right? Like, you don't even get high enough for the drink cart to come out, right? You're just... there's news people walking around, like nobody's belted, and everybody goes to like one side of the airplane. They're all looking, like leaning over each other to look out the window.
Did the plane lean like a ship would?
No, but it was funny. The co-pilot says, and if you look out the right window, it's my house. Which I thought was hilarious. So it was the most chill flight ever, but it was hilarious that
12 minutes.
We flew from one part of the south part of LA to like kind of the northeast part of LA, saw the thing. And I think they did a study. It was like, oh, yeah, we spent all this money. Your commute has been reduced by 5 minutes. And you're like, what? It's still 2 hours. Where are you people coming from? Anyway, that's just part of our problems.
When I fly and travel, there's only 3 towns I buy the additional insurance for the cars I rent. L.A., New York, and Chicago.
That sounds about right.
Those are the exact same places that I get the insurance from as well.
Yeah.
Although Tennessee didn't treat me very well. I had a deer jump over a Nissan GTR once. And then my last trip I was there, so I'm going to Tennessee next week to drive the new Nissan Armada. And I was driving last time I was there. I said, hey, guys, I'm going to stay for a few extra days. Like, oh, we'll just leave you a truck at the airport. And I told my wife on this trip, I'm like, hey, I'm flying out Wednesday. We have our friends live there. Why don't you fly out Friday and we'll spend the weekend with our friends. We'll fly home together Sunday. And she's like, great. So I called Nissan and I said, hey, I'm going to be in town. Can I get some wheels while I'm there? And then you guys don't have to pick me up at the airport. Yeah, no problem. It was the same guy who handled the incident from last time.
Your GTR incident?
No. This was the Titan where, so this is the GTR and our friend Brent Hagen, who does product planning for Nissan.
Ron didn't know he was in for all these stories.
He didn't. And we were stopped at a stoplight and we got rear-ended by an old man in a Taurus. Like,
oh, no.
Just plowed in the back of us.
Oh, no.
So that actually happened. And then, yeah, it sounded kind of like that. Then the old man was yelling at us for being in his way. We were stopped at a red light, dude. And then on top of that, I'm in a Titan last trip, and I make a U-turn.
Oh, you didn't get hit in this one?
I make a U-turn, 2-lane road, and the lady behind me is not paying attention as I'm making my U-turn, and I'm kind of perpendicular. Mm-hmm. She plows into the back of the Titan. It's just like that. And I'm like, seriously. And then, check this out. As if... I'm kind of glad that the Titans are going out of production now, because on top of that, I was in a backcountry drive, and I hit a turkey vulture flying across our lane, and it tumbled over the roof and landed in the bed, shook it off, and then flew out.
Someone's telling you not to be in Tennessee.
No, yeah. And then I was in Arizona doing the pace and grade back when the Cummins powered Titans were out. And we're pulling trailers, these little like little white birds that are, I don't know, they're little white birds.
Yeah.
And they fly
like quails or something?
No, they're not quails. But they fly across the freeway. And I'm pulling the grade. I'm doing like 65, and this bird hits my headlight, and it goes.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was just like a giant puff of feathers. No, it wasn't like that, though.
No.
And I felt bad, so we get out, and I'm like, I think I heard that bird. And I go back, and there's just a smear right along the front of the Titan on the headlight. And I felt bad. So I just don't drive them anymore. Tennessee. So maybe I need the insurance in Tennessee is my whole point. Coming back full circle on that.
I guess you do. So, Ron, let's get back to your schedule of events here. Dieselmotorsports.us. Dieselmotorsports.us. December 12, 13, and 14. Can I still buy tickets to attend that event?
Yeah, you can show up at the PRI show and just say you're a competitor for Diesel Motorsports and pay the fee, and they'll let you in.
Oh, so it's not spectators? Can I just go watch?
That's actually the Performance Race Industry show by SEMA.
Oh, so this particular one is not open to the public. Understood. I didn't know if it was actually in PRI or adjacent to it.
Yeah, this is at PRI. We have a booth there. We've had a booth there since 2010. In fact, when it was in Orlando, we actually held a Friday night drag race there at a little 8th mile track about 2 miles from the Orange County Convention Center where it was held. And on Friday night, we held a diesel truck race and a rep car rental race.
Talk about getting the insurance and now bringing back other stories in my mind. But I digress.
No, don't. I'm sure there's a lot there.
We had every vehicle with every rental agency on it. I mean, Avis, Hertz, Enterprise, they all went. I mean, there was guys in minivans with boxes in the back that went down the track. I mean,
That sounds like a lot of fun, though. Can you imagine you go to the Hertz Gold Lot and you're like, what car do I get? And somebody whispers in your ear, and you don't know why. And then you get there. Exactly. Exactly.
Remember on the old Jackass movie where Johnny Knoxville went and rented the little car and painted the number on it and said, I wanted insurance?
Well, our friend Mike Finnegan says the reason that his racing number is 999 is so that if he ever flips his car, it's 666.
It's brilliant.
So, all right, so you and I went on a trip to Wisconsin, and we walked around the Hertz lot for like a good hour trying to pick out which pile we were gonna take.
Almost were like a 5.7 Hemi powered Ram.
Yeah, but it had 50,000 miles on it. It looked super roached, and there's some other things. All right, so here's my question to you: if we knew we were going to one of Ron's events, knowing what was in that parking lot, and you and I had to win the rental car race off, what would we have gotten that day?
Oh, geez. What would we? That's a great question.
Thank you.
Oh, man. I think that the Ram would have been the best choice.
I'm kind of thinking the Ram would have been right up there.
Because everything else was front-wheel drive.
Not everything.
And what was...
Wasn't there a convertible Mustang and we weren't going to do that?
Was there a Dodge something? Was there like a Charger or Challenger
No.
as well?
Oh, yes.
There was.
There was a four-door Charger.
Yeah, but it's going to be like a crap V6 or four-cylinder, right?
Yeah, but rear-wheel drive.
Yeah.
You know, car won the last one?
What one?
A Honda Element.
No,
Yes.
no, say it ain't so.
Yes.
No.
Love it.
We had to rent Camaros, rent Corvettes. I'm going to win this. I rented a Corvette. I rented the big Hemi Challenger. I'm going to win this. Red light, red light, red light. The guy that won it he was a top pro racer, an HRA racer, in a Honda Element, cut them all at the lights, beat the tar out of them.
Ron, would you say that because he was a racer, he was in his element?
Ron, when do you announce the schedule for 2025 for that you'll be putting up at dieselmotorsports.us?
January 1, we will have a preliminary schedule at the PRI show next week. And then on January 1, after the first of the year, we put them up online. And it'll be pretty well the same shows. We'll have our Horsepower Festival here in Missouri, the first one probably being around in April. May, we're going to go to, that's the original Thunder in Muncie. And that is the first diesel-only show held since 2001 in the United States, started by Eric McBride at the old DHRA. It's still held in Muncie, Indiana.
Thunder in Muncie is the rat. I need that T-shirt.
No, I was going to say,
I need that
Thunder
shirt.
in Muncie is either like a country band or it's the name of our competing podcast.
Thunder in Muncie.
Yeah, the hosts at the car show podcast are Thunder in Muncie.
That is great. Yeah. Hey, everybody, it's going to be here all day with you. Thunder in Muncie.
Hey, Muncie.
Thunder in Muncie.
Oh, that's great.
And then we, in June, I think it's the 21st this year, we'll be at the East Coast Diesel Nationals in New Media, Pennsylvania, which is just outside of Bloomsburg, which is about an hour and a half north of Philadelphia, in the Pocono Mountains.
I can't get over Thunder in Muncie. I'm stuck there because I'm thinking in my mind if there were a Simpsons episode where they wanted the Truck Show podcast in Shelbyville,
it would be Thunder in Muncie.
Yeah.
Hey, so Thunder, when are you going to show up? I don't know, Muncie. Let's look at Diesel Motorsports US. Yeah. Okay, well, you got a lot coming up here.
Yep, that's where the first one was held. And then we'll be up in Iowa in August and September. I still haven't picked a place yet. I usually get several tracks wanting us to come places at the PRI show. So I leave a couple of months open for it.
Gotcha.
So by January 1, we should have a full schedule up of where we're going to be this year. And they all change. One may be a truck show, dyno, drag racing, and the next one might be sled bowling, truck show only. I mean, it changes depending on the facility.
Now, do I need to hit all of these events to win the series, or are they individuals? Like, are they standalones?
Well, they can be standalones, but if the guys that follow the series, they earn points, and at the end of the year, they can be the point series champions. Yes. And like the one in Pennsylvania on June 21st, that is one of the few places in the United States where you can see sled pulling and drag racing at the same time going down the track.
Oh, that's cool.
That's very cool.
They're parallel tracks?
Yep. Beautiful facility. We built the track there probably 16 years ago.
Now,
Obviously, on Poconos Mountain, there are no clay dirt tracks.
Well, Ron, I'm kind of curious, with them being next to each other, does anyone ever get confused and try and take the sled down the quarter mile?
No.
that could get ugly.
Could you imagine it goes under the control tower and just like pushes the whole thing down and goes, "Oh, I forgot I had the sled attached. Sorry."
That's in the Thunder and Muncie episode of
It
The
is,
Simpsons.
but absolutely, yes.
Now, Arthur gets a little confused at times, like, "Oh, which one am I announcing? The drag? Who just ran the course? Oh, no. Drag."
Well, you got your hands full, Ron. Congratulations on the success of the series. Are you going to PRI, Holman, or no?
No, I've been traveling. I could have. I just have no. There's too much going on. I've got that Nissan trip, and I was out in the desert, and just still getting over SEMA.
I have never been to PRI, and I hear
Yeah.
really great things. It's like the SEMA show, but pure, if that's a thing.
Plus, I might be going to Dakar still. So
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There's no vehicles shown, so the tire kickers, the car show, truck show people are not there because there's none shown. It's strictly a parts show, and so it's strictly for competitors and for shop owners.
and for competitors to measure each other's products with the scanning tool, right?
Yeah. And there's a lot of they have a tool section, large tool section. They have a huge performance alley, and then they have even booths out on the outside now. It's a pretty large show. And depending on the weather, if it's a clear weather, we usually get a pretty good crowd of about 50,000 people over 3 days.
That's great.
And we're actually holding a seminar with the University of Ohio Diesel Tech Club. And we're hosting that on Saturday. So I'm going to have a panel of diesel experts where these students can ask the diesel guys in the industry questions about the future of diesel technology and the use of diesel vehicles in the country.
Look at you setting up the next generation of enthusiast mechanics. Congrats.
That's what we got to get the guys to the youth market. I would say between the age of 18 and 35, that's almost 80% of our people now.
Well, we appreciate you doing the hard work and putting together the series every year, and we're going to come out and see it. Somehow, somewhere, we're going to come out and see it.
Especially if it's in Vegas.
That would be awesome.
Short drive.
See if you can't change California some so we can come out there and hold a fun event, okay?
We're working on it, I promise you. But there needs to be more
New
of
governor.
Us. Yeah, new governor and all that stuff. All right, if you want to find out more about Ron and what he's got going on, it's dieselmotorsports.us, or you can follow him on the gram at Diesel Motorsports, or on Facebook at Diesel Motorsports US. They've got the page there, and plenty of videos, announcements, a lot of great stuff. So if you're into trucks and racing and diesels, which is pretty much everybody listening, you'll want to go visit one of Ron's shows.
You're the best,
Thanks
Ron.
for having me.
Yeah, thank you.
Good talking to you.
All right, we'll
Ron.
talk to you soon. Thanks, Ron.
Absolutely. Have a good one.
You too, Matt. It has been forever since we checked in on the 5-star hotline, 657-205-6105, 657-205-6105. Let's ring up the 5-star hotline.
Oh, come on and be part of the show. Call the 5-star hotline. 657-205-6105. It's the 5-star hotline. 5-star hotline.
Hey guys, love the new voicemail. Hey, it's Jake Prius. also known as, a.k.a. Jake Palmgren.
Do you think that all of his friends call him Jake Prius now?
Only if they listen to the show.
Thank you guys for the most recent episode with Gail Banks at the Friends and Family event. That was fantastic.
Ooh, I guess this is a little toasty, this one here.
Hey, I was hoping that we could get some kind of, group together to have Truck Show podcast listeners communicate with each other, maybe via your website, Facebook, or another platform, following up from the email I sent a couple of weeks ago. Thanks for reading that, by the way, and would love to see what other people think about that.
We tried that.
No, we didn't.
It went,
no,
well.
You set up something and nothing ever went live.
Okay.
And now might be the right time to engage our listeners and find out what they want.
What they really want?
Forward.
Yeah. It would be a good time.
It would be a great time.
That would be a great time. We should do it. When do you want to do it?
We should do it soon.
And also would love to see some really cool video on Lockjaw, because, we don't get to see that very often.
Well, he wants a lot of things that aren't going to happen.
Yeah, no, blew it up. Ain't going to happen, sorry.
And that's a really long-lasting piece of history in the Truck Show podcast, library here. So I feel like most of us would love to hear or see more about that. Thanks, guys, for everything. 5 stars. Keep up the good work, and talk with you soon.
5-star review! 5 stars!
657-205-6105 is the 5-star hotline.
5-star.
5-star.
Hotline!
Lightning and Holman. This is Stephen Watson. I'm road tripping from Hurricane, Utah, back up to home in Colorado. I've been working on fun stuff, race cars and sea containers, which is something we can talk about more in person because you guys might think it's interesting. But anyway, listening to the show, listening to Sean agonize about buying a used truck, and one of the things I think you should take a look at is backing up a little bit on your have to have a solid axle for what you're doing, and maybe take a look at a GMT 800, specifically because you can get into the 8.1 and a 5 or 6 speed Allison, which is a pretty awesome combo for what you're looking for. And the downsides of the IFS don't really start showing up until you're looking at a bigger tire and harder use than it sounds like what you're looking for. So anyway, that might be something to consider, because I know the price point on those I feel like is lower than what you're looking for. You start looking for a 50,000 mile truck, 50 to 100 there, and things might open up. And of course, as you know, as soon as you open the door to an extended cab truck, a lot of things open up. And man, if you can live with a short bed, which I'm with you on possibly not wanting, but I'm currently hauling a bunch of crap in my long bed that has a 3-foot toolbox in it, so, or 2.5 foot, whatever it is. So I effectively have a short bed, and I'm making it work. So anyway, there's things to look at there that I think that maybe you glossed over in the beginning. So anyway, I guess that's my input into this part of your truck buying process so far, and it sounds like it's going to get drawn out agonizingly for a long time. So
he knows us.
It'll create a lot of content. Talk to you guys later. Bye.
That was a very interesting way of working in.
Thanks for watching, and remember, everything matters.
Yep.
I mean,
so GMT 800, you did talk about that, and you did talk about the 8.1. I don't think that maybe it was the episode after.
I like the 8.1. Yeah. I like the 8.1 a lot. I think that would be a great way to go. I don't think
the 8.1 though. Well, hold on a second. Isn't the 8.1 just a gas pig?
Yeah, but I'm not commuting in it, so I don't care. I want to do work, so whatever. Don't care.
Yeah.
And I don't think you get to stick with the 8.1, but I might be wrong. I know, obviously, automatic. But the steering wheel's offset to one side, and the GMT 800 trucks, like, the interior's nice-ish, but the dashboards crack on them, and the door handles have issues, and they'll pull off in your hands.
Yeah, they do.
Tried opening my friend's Suburban once, and
the whole door card just comes right off.
Right with you.
Yeah.
And they just, I don't know. I don't know what is about the Chevys. Like, they're good trucks, and Steven's right.
What about the DIC where they've got the
pixels,
the blue pixels, and the pixels always go out?
Or how about that trim ring around the dash where, like, if you hit something really hard, it pops off. Just pops off.
Yeah, exactly.
Here's the thing, though.
And the dashboards, it's plastic. They all start their life as black. And they paint them with this very interesting color. And when it scratches, when it scratches off the blade, it's
just, to me, it feels like when you're in higher mileage. I love the GMT 800. It's one of the best trucks that GM made. But the interiors just don't last, and the door panels just feel really cheap after like 60, 70,000 miles. And the stupid steering wheel's offset. I'm the one who said, this is stupid. I can't buy that truck.
You could.
I mean, I could, but
you could.
I don't know. Do I fancy myself a Chevy guy?
Not really.
But I'm not really an
No, you've been
guy.
a Ford guy.
I have been a Ford guy in my
past. You've leaned
past.
towards Ford.
I will say, I have.
You've owned them all.
A propensity.
Wait, have you owned them all?
No.
You've never owned a GM truck.
I've never owned, I've driven them all, lots. Never owned a GM. A lot of long-term, year-at-a-time loans.
Have you owned a Ram?
I've not owned a Ram. Nope.
So you've been a Jeep and a Ford guy. That's about it.
And a Honda?
Yeah. Well, no, not a Honda truck.
No.
But as far as trucks go,
it's trucks.
Well, Jeep is
Ranger,
truck adjacent. Again, it's Ford.
Couple Rangers. Yeah.
Interesting. Can you guys convert Holman to a GM truck?
Not likely.
Interesting. 657-205-6105 is a 5-star hotline, or hit him.
Don't
Holman
hit me.
at truckshowpodcast.com.
The Truck Show, the Truck Show, the Truck Show. Oh.
That's right. It would be Holman at truckshowpodcast.com or truckshowpodcast@gmail.com. And if you want to hit us up on the socials, that'd be at truckshowpodcast or at Sean P. Holman.
At LBC Lightning still works. That's still going.
And if you want to send us events, send them to structurepodcast@gmail.com.
Are they reading between the lines at this point?
I mean, you keep bringing it up, so you can't just let it be subtle.
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, 5-star hotline. Head on over to either Spotify, which, by the way, we've got quite a few reviews on there in the hundreds. That's cool. Appreciate you guys. Or to the Apple Podcast app. And we haven't had anybody leave any witty, funny, 5 stars in a while.
It's been a minute. Listen, we got new listeners.
They're reviewing, but they don't leave funny things.
Oh. Well, I would like a funny review. Clown us. Feel free. Give us 5 stars and say whatever you want.
And let us know who you want to hear on the podcast. Guests? Friends?
What are you getting at?
People you want to hear from.
If you have a good guest idea, please do pitch it. We've had a few.
Or if you'd like to be on the Truck Show Podcast permanently.
Holman at truckshowpodcast.com. All right, so let's thank Nissan.
All right. Thank you, Nissan.
That's all. That's it.
Thanks,
Nissan.
Thank you, Nissan, for presenting the Truck Show Podcast and sticking with me for a really long time.
Yep.
Which will outlast other relationships on the show.
Thanks, Gail. And thanks, EGR. And thank you to Amsoil.
By the way, don't forget, go to amsoil.com. Spend $125. Listen, you got to get all that oil for your truck anyway. You want some new merch. They've got some great shirts and things like that. You probably need a fender cover, some gun lube cleaner, whatever. You can get that at amsoil.com. Spend that $125. Enter the promo code TRUCKSHOW, and you'll get the emergency 10mm kit.
And we get credit.
Yeah.
So we look like heroes.
Yeah, and then also go to at Truck Show Podcast, look at the reels, find our 10mm reel, laugh a little bit. It's funny.
I think you'll dig it.
The Truck Show Podcast is a production of Truck Famous LLC. This podcast was created by Sean Holman and Jay Tillis with production elements by DJ Omar Khan. If you like what you've heard, please open your Apple Podcast or Spotify app and give us a 5-star rating. And if you're a fan, there's no better way to show your support than by patronizing our sponsors. Some vehicles may have been harmed during the making of this podcast.
Journalists, we have a special jail for journalists. You're stealing, right to jail. You're playing music too loud, right to jail, right away. You're driving too fast, jail.